Hey everybody, welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 645, being recorded on Wednesday, September 22, 2021. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Sproonberg.
Okay, before we get off onto anything, I would like to note that
You're here under protest?
the placement that you have of everybody, go back to the other screen, the placement. So bottom right corner, extremely bright. The other two corners are kind of middling. And then Sebastian is the man of mystery in the dark, forbidden cave. Not well lit. I mean, you've got lighting, but
It's all behind me, though. Yeah,
yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah, it's not professional at all.
Really, but it's I kind of enjoy an interesting motif of going from light to dark. Smart to smart.
Dim.
Well,
Our relative intelligence is it's a visual medium, this video thing. So you can find out when we go live at pcpro.com/live. And there's this Patreon thing. We're doing a Patreon.
you know, we've been doing this Patreon thing, and we have many, many loyal patron subscribers and contributors, and super, super appreciate them because we could not stay on the air without you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are helping pay the bills. Really appreciate every little bit everybody can contribute there. But your name can be added to the hall of, is it fame? I think it's fame. It's not shame. You don't need to be ashamed. Not a lot, maybe just a little bit. Come on down. Contribute to the PC per.
We could add your
Patreon
name. It's
podcast.
literally what Brett is trying to say is your name here. We'll
That is
literally
exactly.
put your name right here
Right here.
the next time. Burger of the Week. It's our most important segment. It's the first segment after the intro.
It is.
In the timestamps, Josh.
Okay, so I was a little disappointed. They didn't have a burger special. And due to all the issues kind of surrounding us of supply and whatnot, they've cut down their menu quite a bit. And I was really in the mood for a buffalo style chicken sandwich because in the past they've been fantastic. And so I had to make my own, except of course, they don't have breaded chicken anymore. It's just grilled chicken.
Oh.
And you ever put buffalo sauce on grilled chicken? It's just kind of wrong. It needs to be breaded or deep fried or something, not grilled. But I did get it. This is just a regular grilled chicken breast sandwich. Lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, onions, and then they provided me with a cup of their Angry Buffalo sauce, which is their 4-flame hot sauce. 5 is their hottest, but I mean the 4 isn't bad at all. So the fries were a little soggy today, and it was a little disappointing. I mean, you can't hit a home run every time you go to bat. I mean, it was still good. I still ate it. It was filling. I won't eat again till tomorrow. But it just wasn't there. It was disappointing because, not only was it podcast day, but it was also the fall equinox. And I thought there'd be something special today, and it was just good. Wasn't special. So, maybe I'm just living in times where I am spoiled rotten by what I am surrounded with, that my day is full of no pain yet no ecstasy, and therefore every day just bleeds into the next. And then we get on Twitter and complain about stupid things because we have nothing better to do.
This has been the Josh Poetry Hour. Please tune in next week for his version of a haiku.
This is when we come on. I need some.
Get some beat going.
I don't know if they were being serious, but somebody in the YouTube chat said, "How is it possible that Josh Walrath looks younger than when PC Per started?" I said DLSS.
Well, you see, when you get fatter,
Right. There's that.
Oh.
And they call them the walrus.
tightens everything up.
yeah.
Some people inject botulism to their faces. Josh just eats burgers every week.
I don't
Josh
think you're
injects
using that word
burgers
right.
into his face.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
botulism. Check
Yes,
check
it
that.
is. What
Well,
do you
yeah,
think?
man, I
It
know
is.
Botox is
It
botulism.
is.
Yeah, Botox is just botulism.
Sure about that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Literally
Yeah, it
injecting
paralyzes
one of the most poisonous things going
Yeah.
into your face.
But it makes you look so
Get rid of
good.
your face.
Sounds
And
weird.
it paralyzes parts of your face too. But
It kills the
No.
muscles and the sub, so it can't move.
all right.
More tense.
Moving on from botulism, EVGA. We've been talking about this for a while. If you follow EVGA on Twitter or read any tech publication, EVGA has been teasing their return to AMD motherboards. Some people mistakenly thought this was their first AMD motherboard. They had AMD motherboards back in the Enforce era. Their last one was Socket 939. But they're back. X570, EVGA, dark, and it's $689.99. This is not just a consumer motherboard. I don't even think it's a Halo product necessarily, although they absolutely could release other X570 boards. This is it in their lineup right now.
Godlike from MSI was what, 550, 600?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so it's, boy, this is one specialized board.
Look at all these features.
And it's, the one thing that I'd be more interested in is learning more about the audio of it. Because even though they use the Crab Realtek AC 1220 or something like that, apparently it's got an ESS DAC in there,
okay,
as well, and they've got, as you can kind of see under that thing, they've got some bigger audio capacitors, and you can use that new audio drivers on it.
Oh, really?
So,
Interesting. Okay.
That's what I heard.
All right, that is intriguing. I thought this was just an overclocking sort of utility board.
They've thrown a few more things, like they've got two Intel 2.5 gigabit Ethernet in there.
Okay.
But they didn't put in 10 gig.
No, 10 gig. 10 gig's kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, you can actually
You have
now
10 gig
get 5-port 2.5 gig switches for under $200.
Yeah, is that QNAP? I think QNAP makes that, right?
Yeah, it's like 125 for a 5-port.
I have a QNAP 10 gig switch here. It's actually pretty nice.
EVGA new audio on board. Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think that's
Well,
pretty impressive,
interesting.
but it's $689, so.
It is.
But it's out of stock, so I can't buy it even if I wanted to. Though I can finance it $58 a month for 12 months for limited time. Pre-qualify now.
Can't
I
you
won't-
just
I won't do
contact someone at EVGA and just have them slide you one? Just for testing
You mean as a
purposes?
review unit? Then I'd have to review
Exactly.
it, though. I mean, where's the fun in
Well,
that?
You might
Uh-oh.
be able to. Yeah.
That's not.
Where's the fun in
a lot
that?
of work. Have you ever reviewed a motherboard? And I'm
I
not even
tried.
good at it, and it's
Look,
still
look,
an extremely
It
painful.
blew my mind. I tried.
Process.
I failed.
Okay.
Jeremy's disappearing into the background.
Oh, no. Now he's the most intelligent one.
understand. And I think I'm black and white as well.
Yes.
Well, yes, exactly. Did communism come for your video?
Look, when you're severely bandwidth limited, it just goes into black and white mode.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
think that my camera control software just barfed.
Do you need a
I'll
quick
be
reboot
back in a
there,
second.
Jeremy?
Yes. All right.
Okay. Please stand by.
I was going dark for EVGA. You figured me
was-
out.
I was going to say that.
All right. What is NVIDIA DLAA? I thought it was DLSS.
Why, no.
Is it dumb looking AA?
It's anti-aliasing.
You know, I do kind of miss back in the day when we could talk about, anti-aliasing that you would understand. Like rotated grid 4x AA or 4x super sampling AA or multi-sampling AA. But now we've got so many different types of AA, it's not even funny. You can't even keep track of them. And then we got, shader-based type AA, TLAA and all these other things that's actually done inside the card and not on the frame buffer and output. It just kind of want to go back to the good old days where you understood this stuff instead of choosing between CSAA and
8XAA and 4XAA.
DLAA,
TXFX,
8XQ,
AAA.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure, it's all good. But sorry, I
supposed to
sidetracked.
announce it because it's somebody from an Elder Scrolls Online team, the creative director of ESO. Said,
Great choice to choose to launch this feature on.
okay, yeah, here we go. It's we're adding a new option: deep learning anti-aliasing, using their deep learning technology, but without the upscaling component, at full resolution. Interesting.
Huh? So it's not DLSS. They're applying
No.
a deep learning AA algorithm. Interesting.
Yeah, so they have an AI trained for AA now. Interesting.
Okay, so now
Well, that actually makes sense. I mean, that would
Sure.
you could do some really interesting things there, and you would really probably avoid a lot of the still AA kind of causes pixel crawl and other things. If you do DLAA and you can get that looking good, you could probably avoid all that. It's almost like it could probably be a usable stochastic type AA that utilizes the matrix capabilities of the NVIDIA cards.
So are you talking
Anyway,
about like
it's gonna have-
that scan line crawl that you can see occasionally if you like, especially on a still with a certain yeah, I've seen that. But you don't see that in a lot of panels. You do occasionally see that still, but not often. But and there's certain colors that
I mean,
don't look quite right
density
together.
helps that you have.
Absolutely.
You're running a 4K. You're going to get
Yes.
very little noticeable crawl.
Right.
1080p,
Now,
yeah, you're gonna notice.
a lot of people might not realize this. Pixels are still square, or actually somewhat rectangular. depending on
they're
the
actually kind
resolution.
of rectangular, but
Yeah, exactly, rectangular. So
Yeah.
making things look curved or round or whatever actually takes a lot of anti-aliasing to make that look decent. It's amazing how much curved stuff.
how did that
on the street.
Macintosh team do the rounded rectangles?
Oh, they got a
Think about
patent
it.
for that. No one
Cheated.
else can do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's true.
But
about
it's-
10
I
years worth of
suspect-
software development.
And a hardware ecosystem that's consistent.
I'm not lying either. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It is true.
But no, I expect this is going to have some serious performance hits, though. If
Yeah.
you're actually running an AIAA, there's
Depends.
AIAA.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's because,
DLAA.
So the DLSS
that'll be
stuff,
AMD's.
I mean, well, yeah, but anyway, no, for the NVIDIA, I mean, it's essentially the matrixy type hardware that's not typically being used when you're rendering graphics. So it's just better utilization of the GPU when you're doing AA. So that's, I guess I should probably download ESO again and fire up a character and check it out.
This is slightly newer. This is a Thunderbolt drive from OWC. MacSales.com, by the way. Not OWC.com. It's MacSales.com. And Tweaktown did a little review of this, and they think it might be one of the best, if not the best, Thunderbolt SSDs you can buy.
Those are fighting
occasionally-
words.
Yeah, occasionally OWC has some of the leading edge stuff, at least at the outset. But we shall see. As we scroll through Tweaktown's review here, as you can see, it's just a it holds an NVMe drive. This one
which
has
you
a
can
Phison
replace, which is
controller.
really nice.
Look how
Phison.
big this is. This is a huge
it's
enclosure
a board.
for an NVMe
Yeah.
drive.
It's aluminum, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You could use that as a personal defense weapon. Throw that at somebody's head.
Is there more than
And your
one
data would be
feel it.
fine afterwards.
in here?
Yeah.
No, these are just
Well, I think,
standard speeds. What is the big deal with this thing?
You're getting standard speeds from external Thunderbolt.
Because it's Thunderbolt, man. It's Thunderbolt.
It's Thunderbolts.
Okay. I guess.
We might very well get
See,
a
they're all
chance to
portable
try this.
SSDs and stuff.
because OWC, I think, is going to send us one to test. So we're going to be able to take a look at this ourselves.
And it's got an Aura P12 SSD, which doesn't necessarily come up high on the rankings either.
No, I would want to throw a different SSD in there.
Serious.
I thought that would be interesting to kind of swap a couple of different NVMe drives in there to see what's what.
So $250, 480 gigabytes, about the performance of a Gen 3 internal SSD. But it's external. So like almost 3,000 megabytes per second reads and about 1,500 writes. Let's seamlessly move to our next news story. And we had to say goodbye to a very important figure in the history of computing, the history of microcomputing. Clive Sinclair.
Now you know why the Sinclair computer was called the Sinclair computer. Because this guy, Sir Sinclair.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you're riding a
Redhead,
bike here?
balding, active,
in a suit,
sharply dressed,
wearing a slim tie like a younger man,
And at speed.
Remember the ZX Spectrum?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this, the Sinclair.
Did you ever have one of his in-ear FM radios, though?
I don't know.
Which I didn't actually realize he'd made.
Do you remember the era of typing in basic programs out of a book or a magazine or something like that?
No,
God,
we're not that old.
yes.
Oh.
Because I had the Trash 80 that I did that with.
Yes. And this was one of the computers that taught so many people how to program. I actually had a VIC-20 at the time, so we used to have, computers, face-offs between, platforms and stuff have been going on forever. So there was always the platform war between, your Commodore computers and your Atari computers and your IBMs and your Sinclairs at the time.
Did you get your
the
VIC-20?
Sinclair Z80? Is that what the big one was?
Might have been. I thought it was a CX100, but
I thought it was a Z80.
No, by then it was already
He
going
used a
out of style.
Zilog.
Yeah.
But there were several
CPU.
manufacturers of that one at the time. There was the Timex Sinclair, which was a almost work-alike one. Had some differences to it, but it was very similar. Oh, the ZX80.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
I mean, that was a foundational personal computer that you could buy, and it wasn't hugely expensive. But you needed to have that manual. You needed to have that book of 1,000 programs.
I know.
And
it was
type well.
To find the
then they have
typo that you
the
missed.
strange
One
rubber keys.
typo.
Remember, pokes and peeks into memory locations and stuff like that from basic programs. That's where I learned to write my first machine language stuff. Oh yeah, somebody just wrote peeks and pokes. Yep, good stuff. Remapping the keyboard so that you can do bitmaps with the letters on the screen used to be bitmap graphics, so you could change them into other graphics and put letters next to each other to design games and stuff like that. Crazy. Absolute stone knives and bearskins.
Yes.
But flexible. You just had to know how to do it. It's like Vim. I mean, people who know Vim love it because it's just lots of shortcut keys, and it was all designed so you could have this editor in a low memory space. I mean, really low, sub 16K, and you could do really complex things. But it was all, I mean, if you ever want to, I mean, if you're not familiar with Vim, read up on the history of it. And I mean, this is again an area where it was helped develop on, I believe, and so
Okay, moving back to present day, a recent development, something uncovered by Matthew Smith over at Tech Power Up, who runs their graphics card database. He's discovered, according to a report here at Tom's Hardware, yes, he's discovered that recycled dies are being used in RTX 3060s. The article says that it's faulty RTX 3070 Ti dies.
it's old news. I mean, they've been doing D-rated chips to lower things forever. Back in the day with the ATI 9700 Pro, D-rated the chips to make the 9500. And that's when you could solder some resistors and flash a BIOS, and suddenly you've got a 9700 with all 8 pixel shaders and 2 vertex shaders. And yeah, I mean, derating chips and putting it into a lower level product is, I mean, it's common. It makes sense, because why waste a chip that won't go into where you think it should go when you have another product down below that you can make it fit, and you won't waste that chip, especially when a 3060, you're lucky to pick one up at $399 MSRP. I mean, extremely lucky. Usually they're in 530s, and you have to go through the Newegg shuffle or be really lucky. And if you're really lucky, why are you just playing with computers?
You should be gambling.
Yeah.
No, we don't actually advocate gambling.
Yeah.
But if it's legal in your state, feel free if you're an adult. Let's pause here to hear from our first podcast sponsor this week.
Today, many small business owners are busier than ever because they have to focus on managing and growing their business. They can't always afford to spend the time finding good candidates. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has made it easier to find and hire the best candidates worth interviewing. And it's free. I had the opportunity myself to use the system to locate potential positions, and I found the experience easy to navigate. It's a great way to communicate with potential employers. For your prospective new hires, the LinkedIn Jobs Easy Apply process is super quick, making it easy for your posting to attract potential qualified new hires fast. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and way beyond, as they are the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. The role you post can have applicants fill out targeted screening questions, allowing you to find the most qualified candidates with the experience, skills, and motivations you need. Then use the simple tools on your dashboard to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates worth interviewing faster. Did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/PCPer. That's linkedin.com/PCPer and post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
It's no longer a rumor. Jeremy reported on rumors of this. Microsoft had an event. It's official now. You can just plunk down your money now if you can. I don't know if it's up for pre-order yet, but you can get your Surface Pro 8. It's a laptop. It's a tablet. It's a pen input device. It's everything for the professional. Like, you can play around with iPads, which are basically toys for children. Or you can get a Surface Pro. There's Pro right in the title. Anybody watch this presentation?
I read the Cole's notes.
It's 2,880 by 1920 resolution, 13-inch Pixel Sense Flow display. Oh, it has up to 120 hertz refresh rate.
But you've got to enable it. The default 60 for some insane reason.
Some insane reason like battery life.
So that's for losers.
Because they want to say under battery life up to 16 hours. You know, at 60 hertz. 40% screen brightness, whatever. Oh, look, it's got a TPM 2.0 chip. Because, I mean, it's obviously Windows 11 ready.
Well, guess what date these will actually start shipping on?
Today?
No, you can pre-order today. They'll ship on October the 5th for some reason.
Oh, that's when Windows 11 launches.
Yeah.
So what else is going on October 5th? Wow, that's strange.
And look, it comes with a power supply.
October.
I'm glad. It's trendy not to include power supplies and things anymore.
It is. It's brave, actually. I think
Nintendo pioneered it, and then Apple copied them. Do you remember when the new 3DS XL did not ship with a power adapter?
Go back to the old days of batteries not included.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that?
Well,
there's problems with shipping batteries. You've got to specially label it, and there's like container and like quantity limits. And
there's a couple of devices out there. I can't remember what they're called. Don't have replaceable batteries anymore either.
Yeah,
so you can't even get at them.
Yeah, wonderful.
You're talking about every major smartphone.
Pretty much, yeah. I guess, yeah. That would be the phones.
LG was still doing replaceable batteries late in the game, and look what happened to them.
Yeah.
They don't even have a line of phones anymore.
They went down.
Nope.
Raspberry Pi is popular. Radeon graphics cards are popular if you can find one. What if we combine them on a desk and then take a picture of it? Well, Hackaday did all of those things.
And more. It's
That's
hooked
not
up to a
Thermaltake
Raspberry
power
Pi
supply, is it?
compute unit.
What is a Raspberry Pi compute unit, Jeremy?
Well, it's a little add-on that you get for your Pi, which, among other things, has a PCIe slot on it and one lane.
By
and
four?
It's designed to... by four,
one,
right?
Sorry.
Ooh.
It is by one.
No, it's by one.
They talked about how they had to get a switch to make from the 16 by into a 1 by, and get the 4 lines talking. So this wonderful, brilliant lunatic, that's name is, where did he go? Jeff Geerling. Is the guy who did it.
Oh, okay.
And so he managed to get Pi running with sort of a custom Linux kernel.
Wait, I want to know how he got a hold of the 6700 XT.
Yeah.
That
It was
was
probably
part of
a
his story
review,
about
yeah.
how he was incredibly lucky. And managed
This
to
is all
find-
fake. This is crap, man. There's no way he could have got a hold of that video card.
And besides that,
garbage.
Just renders.
how on earth could you expect to find a device that would take a 16 lane PCI Express connector and take it down to a by one? Why would anybody need such a thing?
It's not working great yet. For some reason, he's running into issues where the Pi is running out of active memory for some reason. Can't imagine why.
He needed to download more RAM, just didn't do it yet.
Yes. Or just tell the card to slow down. And
I mean, go and talk to Keanu. Download some more RAM.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so, I mean, it may well eventually work, and he could, in theory, assign this little Pi compute-heavy tasks and actually have it do it in a reasonable amount of time, but, I mean, overall, the two greatest weaknesses are the difficulty of putting it together and, finding yourself a GPU.
Couple driver updates. I feel like we just talked about this, but there's another AMD driver. This one doesn't bring new exciting features like the last one did. Like the one-touch overclocking that voids your warranty. This one adds support for Star Wars Squadrons. There's some new Vulkan support, a bunch of issues that have been fixed, some known issues that are still there. But we're all the way up to 20.9.2 now. 20.9.1 added Windows 11 support and added AMD SAM to the 5000 series graphics cards. This is a more minor update. I mentioned this in fairness, because the bigger driver story was NVIDIA's new driver, which is adding DLSS to, I think, 28 more games. So now they have an even 100, over 100 games and apps now supported. Alan Wake Remastered is getting DLSS support. I feel like a lot of games get DLSS now, even if they're not necessarily going to feature a lot of ray tracing.
That's actually sort of interesting. They would do that with Alan Wake.
Yeah, Alan Wake is unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so many remastered games, so little time. Which is nice, because I have so many games in my backlog that when they get remastered, then I have another chance to buy them and then wait another 10 years before I try to play them again.
It's nice, eh?
It's a good plan.
It is. That these guys,
good
they're
plan.
geniuses. There's one other thing. Last week, I didn't talk about it, but ARM released a whole series of products to support their automotive interests in self-driving type stuff, and it's a comprehensive bunch of software and development tools and how to get the hardware out there. And I just wanted to quickly mention this because they're pushing this, and they have some partners lined up, and development work is being done, and they're addressing this area, which is very important. I mean, all major car dealerships are not dealerships, but car manufacturers and parts manufacturers like Bosch. Bosch is getting into self-driving stuff and trying to get the hardware going, and so ARM is applying a lot of their expertise to getting all the software capabilities and all of that going and as well as, getting into the hardware and making it a one large kind of package that people can develop from and, productize it. Now, the sad thing is it really is about 7 years from starting development to where you actually ship a product. But they've got the framework there, and they're making this available. And it's taking a lot of the really footwork, base work out of the equation for manufacturers who want to, get the self-driving stuff going and automotive. And so they have a good basis to begin on and be able to work from there. And so this is another positive thing. So making safer, more interesting cars. You're going on a long drive, put on autopilot. I don't know if you want to take a nap, but we're not at that point yet. People have taken a nap and have run into things like barriers and the backs of emergency vehicles and trees. And yeah,
look, emergency vehicles are very confusing to the AIs. Why we don't know, but they are.
The amount
flashing
of
lights,
automation that's in even just standard cars now is kind of staggering. I had a rental car for about a week because mine was trapped under a tree, and then it was at the shop. And there's this Toyota Corolla. They didn't have much on the lot at Enterprise, and even this little thing had like the ability to read road signs. So then it would display the road sign it had just read and put it up on the dash for you.
Have you noticed that the luxury features of a car from 10 years ago are now just standard now? I mean, even though you are paying more for cars, those features have been pushed down and down and down. When's the last time you saw a roll down window?
So long ago, you don't even remember what the handle was called.
Yeah, I don't even know if my wife has seen one of those in her lifetime. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Everybody just expects
It's
power windows
crazy.
and door locks.
Industrial trucks maybe still? I don't know.
Well, no, I was in a Ford F-350 that was brand new not too long ago because a buddy of mine was Ubering. And it looked like a Cadillac from about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The interior was just
insane.
insane.
I'll take
That's
it.
actually the reason why so new cars are in short supply. It's obviously just another offshoot of the chip shortage,
Yep.
unfortunately.
All the creature comforts. Yep.
yeah, all
You got to have
stuff.
lots
And
of chips and computers.
I read about cars that are not only reading and displaying these signs, but actually altering the speed at which you're driving to go, oh, you're going too fast. Let me help you with that. Let me back
There's
you
things
down
like
to
the
speed limit.
radar assisted cruise control.
No, thank you.
You can
Yes.
set the distance between you and the next car, and then it will actually start to slow
Brake.
you down if they're
Break
braking
before
ahead of
you get yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I don't like
Yeah.
all this stuff. Just turn it all
No.
off.
Yeah, turn it off.
Let me live.
You know what? I've still got a manual transmission in my car.
Rare. Costs
Well, you have a
extra
sports
nowadays.
car.
And there's
though,
there's no lane avoidance, nothing. It's you got to pay attention. And all these new kids with their newfangled, they don't pay attention anymore. You got to focus, laser.
Crashing
No,
into
they don't have to.
ambulances.
Because all these kids are going to grow up and drive
Houses.
Teslas. Then the Teslas are going to drive them. I think at that point,
Yep.
just take public transportation. If the bus
No,
ran,
they run into buses
Not a
too.
car.
if the bus ran every 10 minutes, I don't think I'd have a car. The buses around here, they don't go where I need to go half the time. Waiting on a bus exchange from one to the other takes forever, and they only run once or twice an hour, depending on where you are. That's inconvenient. So we drive all these cars around. The Midwest I feel like there's 2 cars to every person. Every yard, every driveway has like 5 cars in it.
And who would have thought that a simple ARM announcement would lead to a discussion like this? It's
Exactly.
Yep. You never know.
crazy. Yeah. And before we get into the last thing, I need to do an update on last week's pick. The 30-inch MSI $289 monitor. Well, it's sitting back there. And it's beautiful. I don't understand why it costs as little as it does for what it does. It's an IPS. It's a fast IPS. It does 200 hertz. It's just fun to take your mouse and do circles in the middle of the desktop at 200 hertz when you're used to 60 hertz at work. And it's just so smooth. It's mesmerizing. and you're hypnotized by the smoothness of the mouse cursor going in circles. I mean, it's like you're a whole different world. We're getting that much closer to the Matrix, man, when you don't have any kind of latency or stuttering when you're moving your hand and mouse. Anyway, it's well worth the sub $300 price, even though it is 2560 by 1080. Newegg is wrong; it's not 1920, and because of the size, you don't notice the pixel density. It's not that bad. It's not like getting a 27-inch 1080, a 1920 by 1080, where you could kind of see how blocky it was. The way that this is all spread out with 2560 by 1080, it's really comfortable to view, and it's nice, and 200 hertz on IPS, and it looks good. And when you change it from 60 hertz to 200 hertz, you don't lose any real image quality. I mean, a little bit probably, but not much. And it's yeah. Look it up if you want a new monitor, or give somebody you love, or even somebody you hate, a new monitor. Less than $300 for that it was a deal. It really was.
Or buy it and then give someone you hate your old 60 hertz monitor, because you just can't go back to that lifestyle anymore. Let's pause here to hear from our second podcast sponsor this week.
Hey, there's some big news from my new favorite home security company. SimpliSafe is extending their protection to the outside of your home and has just launched their new wireless outdoor security camera. Named by U.S. News and World Report as the best home security system of 2021, SimpliSafe now just got even better. Their brand new outdoor security camera is engineered with the features you want and need to help keep you and your family informed and safe. The camera's got a nice field of view at 140 degrees, making it easier to keep watch over your outdoor spaces. The 1080p HD resolution is backed up with an 8x zoom, making it possible to more clearly see things like faces or vehicle details like license plates. Hey, it's also got a built-in spotlight with color night vision, making it easy to see what's going on all day and night. It's simple to set up with an easy-to-remove rechargeable battery, making it possible to deploy anywhere on your property. The new camera also integrates with your SimpliSafe home security system, of course, so now every door, window, and room are protected, and now your property can be too. To learn more about the exciting new SimpliSafe wireless outdoor security camera, visit simplisafe.com/PCPer. What's more, SimpliSafe is celebrating this new camera by offering 20% off your entire new system and your first month of monitoring service free when you enroll in interactive monitoring. Again, that's simplisafe.com/PCPer. Take a look today.
I will mention a review that's up on the site. It is for the Thermaltake 8H T200 micro chassis, which looks like a helicopter cockpit, kind of.
Hey, it's Blue
People
Thunder.
can't see it. It is a lot like Blue Thunder, yes.
Yeah. All it needs is a big Gatling gun at the middle and the bottom, which of course would be, they'd say that's toxic masculinity because it's phallic, but no, that's Blue Thunder, man.
That was Blue Thunder, though, was toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Sebastian, I was disappointed to read that the intakes on the side actually weren't.
No, yeah, I mean, this is a really unusual looking case, so if you haven't, check it out on Thermaltake's site or on our site with this review. It's an open frame concept, but then it has a lot of window dressing. So there's a lot of extra panels and unusual angles. And I said it features sharp angles, unusual cutouts, panels affixed via large thumb screws, and hinged glass doors on both sides. But it's very unusual. And then it has these big scoops on it, and I was thinking, oh, that's clever for the air intake. So I popped one of them off, and there's just metal behind it. There. And they're just solid. Oh, that stinks. But there's a bunch of air gaps all around the front. So obviously, something.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you were writing this up, did you think Tom Jones?
I don't know. I know who Tom Jones is, but I'm not familiar with whatever you're talking about.
It's not unusual.
Oh, okay.
To be a love model. Anyway,
no, this is actually
you keep saying it's unusual.
MATX. It's an MATX
then
case,
it's
right?
not-
It'll take.
It's not unusual.
Okay. Yeah. The
not
A.
ITX.
What is it? The AHT 600 is a full tower. This is the smaller version of it, so it's technically a micro ATX case. I don't have any recent micro ATX motherboards, so I just did a mini ITX for this build. Should probably correct that, but so few micro ITX boards come out anymore. We haven't been sent any in a while. And as you can see, if you look at the back, inside the component chamber is pretty standard. There is sufficient room to build the system by just swinging the glass door out of the way. And then you can do the same thing with the back. There's 3 2.5-inch drive bays back there. Not a whole lot else. And unfortunately, I guess it depends on the power supply you use. I didn't have quite enough length on like the CPU power cable to go completely behind the motherboard tray. Yes. If you look at my build here, this is the messiest looking build I've done in recent memory. And I actually tried, but it's just this is more of it's odd because the whole thing is about aesthetics on the outside, but then on the inside it's all functional. So there's not really a clever way to... You could do custom cabling and cable extensions and things, but here's my case floor. It's just kind of a mess in here. And I used a couple of Thermaltake fans they sent along with this. And they were their Ring Quad 12 RGB, which comes with a lighting controller, and that just adds more stuff. So then I put the lighting controller on the case floor, all these extra cables, and... Anyway, thermals. Obviously, the front of the case is a little bit restrictive because it's got windows around one of the intake fans. So open bench with the components that I use, which is a weird little mix of a Ryzen 5 3600X, which I had on my B450 mini ITX board. I threw a RTX 3080 Ti into the mix, and then I measured some temps, and load for the CPU went up from 36.8 over ambient to 43.1, going from open bench to the case. So not crazy, 5.5 degrees. The GPU went up from 51.6 to just 52.6. Not much. But then, oddly enough, the one thing that I could not really understand, when I put the two 120 millimeter intake fans on the front, the GPU temps went down. They went down to actually slightly better than open bench because you had more airflow. But then the CPU temps went up by almost 3.5 degrees. I rechecked all the numbers.
GPU got to go somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's one of those Founders Edition cards, and it pushes a lot of hot air straight up over the memory. Well, then the way the airflow was working, it was pushing that hot air directly over the little CPU cooler. So that wasn't ideal, but it wasn't terrible. Ultimately, I think you're buying this because of the way it looks. So you have to like it. It catches your eye on Newegg. You're like, whoa, what is this? It looks like a helicopter without the tail. And
I kind of like the white one better.
The white one does look cool, actually.
Yeah.
They come in, I think, 3 colors. But
someone just asked.
You need a little leg
It's
on
almost
the
also
window.
like a Gundam cockpit.
A little bit.
Put a little figure in the front there.
Exactly.
I think people, it's very much on the mod friendly side. What were you saying, Brett?
Someone just asked what a 3600K was. Your chart had a 3600K in it accidentally.
Okay. It needs to be an X.
Whoops.
Dang it. I got to redo that chart again. All right. Yes. Anyway, it's an open test bench with an exotic frame around it. So if that's your
They should
thing,
have provided a little wiring management indoors. That would have been nice.
yeah. I mean,
Some channels
this is
for
it.
that.
You're looking at the back panel right here. There's not a whole lot of area to put cables. They do come with a couple of Velcro straps. So you're supposed to just put things along this line here, but that's still visible from the front because it's full of cutouts. So I couldn't really come up with a way. I could have been more clever. I could have taken the drive bays out and trussed everything up behind that panel. I wasn't being that careful. I just threw a build together and tried to do some basic organization, and I failed. Oh, the one complaint I really had about the case, actually, to get to the front the front intake fans, you have to take the helicopter cockpit windows off, which is 3 screws on each side, and then it snaps into place. And then there's 2 thumb screws at the top, and then the bracket doesn't just lift straight out the top. You have to angle it and pull it out from the inside, so you can't have your system fully built, or at least you have to take the GPU out and kind of shimmy it out of there. And then you can mount the fans to the bracket, and then you have to put the whole bracket back in kind of at an angle and shift it into place, and then put the thumb screws back. and then put the cockpit window section back in. So, not ideal.
So you're fully invested when you're doing that.
Yeah. And then when you have it installed, this top fan is going to be covered by windows. So, kind of struggle to understand why you'd want to put front fans at all, except for maybe the look, because it gives you that nice RGB look if you're using lighted fans. But
yeah, those fans actually, they look pretty good in there. What was the build quality like on this? I mean,
very good.
Okay.
I wasn't finding any issues with the structure. There weren't any sharp edges. It felt very sturdy. I really like the doors. You can see here, like, the doors are hinged, so you open the doors with one thumb screw, and then you just swing it out of your way, and it was nice, thick glass. It has an interesting shape. Very impressed with the build quality. It's almost Lian Li-like. Or not Lian Li. Who am I thinking of? Inwin. It was almost Inwin-like. Not quite as, like, they would use thicker panels and it would all be aluminum, but you know what I'm saying. Because I remember the D-Frame Mini, which is this cage with a Mini ITX open frame system inside. So this is kind of similar to that, except obviously with a lot more metal and panels. And speaking of metal panels, that's the top fan mounts require the removal of the roof of the case, which comes off with thumb screws, like everything else. And then you have
Does the roof ever catch on fire?
Uh-huh.
But if you use deionized water, it shouldn't really impact anything.
Yes.
I can't believe you didn't use my subtext anywhere in your write-up.
Which is what?
Get to the chopper.
Oh, yes. Oh, you know what?
It wasn't any less funny.
I forgot about it. I keep on zooming out. Okay, where do I have a picture of the top? Obviously, a picture will not satisfy this comment. Do I not? I forgot to put my picture of the top I/O. Where the heck is it? I'll add it right here. The power button on the top of this case it has the most satisfying click. This big button over here, it feels so good to click it. It has a great sound. It's kind of a clunky, clicky. It feels like an Alps switch, kind of. It's great. I haven't clicked a better power button in the modern case era, and I'm serious about this. So if you're really into the feel of the case power button, I cannot recommend this case enough. And $169 for that kind of experience, think about it. Like, you know those old red toggle switches on the sides of IBM PS2s and their clones? Yeah. Those are really satisfying. This isn't up to that level, but
snap. Yeah.
Damn, it feels good. Mm. All right, let's move on to picks of the week. And Josh, get us started.
Okay, so anyway, as mentioning magic. These are almost magic. So yeah, I was for like an 11-hour span, I was essentially immobile, and my wife was considering calling the ambulance, but of course, me being the tightwad that I am, and quite famously with my children, they call me the tightwad. Anyway, I said no. This is just spasms combined with low potassium in my system, and so I'm Charlie horsing on my entire left side and causing me to actually go into this strange thing and screaming in pain. Salon pads. They're these pads that you put them on your back, sore muscles, anything, and you can keep them on there for 8 hours. And it just makes the world feel a whole lot better, especially if you're in a lot of pain. And so I got some of these, and they work. And sure, you smell like menthol and other things, and people think you probably slather on Bengay as cologne, but you don't care because it feels so much better, and they're inexpensive, and you wear them for 8 hours, and your life is a lot nicer. If you struggle with pain, especially muscular skeletal pain, if you have children and whatnot, this won't take the pain away. But yeah, for only a few dollars, it provided a tremendous amount of relief. And yeah, I'm walking again, which is nice. And I can bend over and tie my shoes, which is really nice. And I can start lifting things again. So yeah, getting old sucks, but you don't have to take it.
Jeremy?
iFixit just recently handed out a perfect 10 to a laptop.
What?
The Framework laptop, which you might remember from almost a year back when they first sort of announced it. It's a 13-inch laptop frame that you could either order built or you could literally order it piece by piece by piece by piece. The idea being that everything is completely and utterly removable and repairable. And of course, upgradable. So you don't have to worry about a bloody soldered CPU. You don't. The bezel one is apparently magnetic, so you can just peel it off as opposed to unscrewing the whole thing. And instead of looking like an old Toshiba satellite, he says it's fairly similar to an Acer one that he'd been using recently. Like, look at it; it's not stupidly chunky, but there it is. There's everything. And it's been designed specifically so that you can get at it and easily fix it or replace it. The one he picked up had an Intel Wi-Fi card, 16 gigs of RAM, 250 gig WDM VME, and of course it comes with a 32 gig thumb drive for installing Windows, which is kind of nice. Then there's the modules. You want USB-C, HDMI, and DPI? Or sorry, DP, you just snap them in. Done. You don't want that one anymore, you snap it out, you put in a different module, install the driver for it, and away you go. They're not even stupidly expensive. They're relatively decently priced compared to the competitors. But, I mean, there's one sort of... the keyboard is a little bit difficult to tear apart and replace. Keyboards kind of are. And there are 4 USB ports soldered directly onto the motherboard, which they kind of didn't love because it sort of got rid of the whole idea of it. But at the same time, I mean, they're going to be used anyways, so there's no point. And the power one is probably a good idea to, have a good solid solder on it as opposed to a snap-in. Yeah, it's just really an interesting idea, and you can pick it up with whatever you want. They're hoping for a second edition sometime, which is going to have a GPU in it. Of course, this one right now is depending on an APU, and as you can see, there's no CPU or GPU in there, but they may well develop that, which makes things even more interesting. In the meantime, just get a good enclosure and stick in an external GPU. Yeah, I think this thing's kind of neat.
Looks nice.
Have you ever given anything a 10 out of 10?
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure.
They're just fed up with Apple. They're like, look, we're going to give anything that's better than Apple, 10.
Oh, terrible.
They give Apple like a 1 or sometimes 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
They don't like...
Although they're
with
taking
blue.
shots at Apple in this, in their review, as always.
Next.
Hey,
Brett.
you know how much I like powering things? And power and electricity and more power, and when the lights go off, still having electricity. So my pick is a UPS this week, and a reasonably priced one for 1,500 VA, 900 watts. I know 164 with $10 promo card thrown in on top of it still sounds like a lot of money, but just for giggles, click that 1351, 810 watts there. So remember, the one I'm suggesting here is 164. One that has less go juice is 194.
Yeah, but that's from Mac Marvel's Marketplace with only 74% positive feedback.
But if you go back to the
battery was too heavy.
Yeah, it's too heavy. 164 is actually a pretty darn good price
for a reasonable name brand, although I've had my
But
issues
is
with
it
APC
pure
units.
sine wave?
Oh, for God's sakes.
Is it pure sine wave? No,
It's
not.
It's not. No.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff you can plug into this, which will be just fine. Just totally fine.
Okay.
So this is a very good price for a 1500 VA APC UPS.
Look at all those outlets on the back.
I know. I'm not sure I'd plug my cable television into it, though, but sure.
But look, it's got inputs and outputs
I
for
know.
cable surge suppression.
And your phone. And your fax machine.
Mm-hmm. In
Still.
an office environment, this makes a lot of sense. How much
it
is
does, yeah.
pure sine wave going to cost, though? Because this one...
See price in cart.
List price
Quite a lot more.
$555. I think a pure sine wave is usually about, what, $250, $300 for this?
It's a lot more money.
No, for that one, it'd probably be about $5.
Would it really? That much more?
At 1500.
Okay. Well, not everything is so sensitive that it needs it.
That is correct.
And if it is, then just slap one of those patches on it.
You could do that.
A sine wave patch. I have
Bend the curve.
I have no pick this week.
Shocked.
Hey, sometimes I do. Last week I picked trees or something. I don't know. I don't remember. This has been the PC Per Podcast, episode 645. We'll be back next week. Maybe there'll be some new exciting announcements. I know Nintendo Direct is happening tomorrow. Maybe we'll be talking about the new Switch Pro. They released it after all.
Ooh.
With that DLSS and 4K and all that stuff. Probably not, but we'll see. Thanks for watching and or listening, or both. Please do both every week, repeatedly.
Multiple times. That'd be great.
From different
And
IP
happy
addresses.
Equinox.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
when
off
do
by
we
a day,
fall
but
back, by the way?
No, it's Equinox, 22nd. It shifts from year to year,
Right.
depending on...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up.
But yeah, it's officially Equinox.
I thought it was the 21st, but what do I know?
November
Well, the days are
year.
getting shorter.
7? I have to wait till November. All I know is it's 7
I'll be
a.m.
gone till November.
7,
January, February, March, April, May.
7 a.m. It's pitch black outside. And I'm tired. And I want to go back to bed. But
What else
No.
is new?
we got to wait till 2 a.m. on November 7th to fall back. Okay. Can we just abolish daylight savings time, please?
Please.
Yes, we need to.
Who is it saving? Daylight?
No one anymore, probably.
No.
Not a damn thing.